Hello trader, welcome back to another weekly Forex forecast for the last week of November 2025. So this week is the last week of the month. What kind of move we can expect as shutdown has ended? So in this weekly Forex forecast, I'm going to look at DXY, Euro dollar, British pound US dollar, gold, AUD USD, dollar CAD, dollar yen, and GBP JPY. So before I progress with this analysis, traders, make sure that you give a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done yet. So that being said, let's begin this week's weekly Forex forecast starting with DXY. Okay, traders. So DXY, first of all, we will be looking at higher time frame. We'll be drop down to the lower time frame to see that potential trading opportunity in this market. So looking at monthly price action here on DXY, we can see that this market potentially slowly turning to a bull market, at least for shorter term. If we look at the overall a trend in this market from the monthly, we can see that from this high there was a significant breakdown here, and with this monthly breakdown the market has moved in a sideways where there was a bullish move, bearish move, bullish move. The market is in a sideways, and with that sideways market, if we look at this current monthly price action in November, we can see that after this previous monthly bull candle this month as well, the market has created a bullish impulse, and that could potentially bounce back to the upside. As we have seen, there is a structure formation here that can act as a reversal pattern, and the market may potentially go back up to this previous resistance line here from the monthly. Now looking at the weekly chart, we can see that there is a bullish trend continuation here in that market. From the longer term, if we look at the historical perspective, DXY was in a bear market. From this high, we saw a breakdown, pullback, another drop, pullback. So the market is maintaining that series of lower high and lower low, followed by quite a few weeks of consolidation. With this long week doji, the market managed to reverse back to the upside. Now that showing from the technical perspective, at least for short term, DXY potentially to remain bullish, and that could bring that market here back to the upside to this key resistance line from the weekly perspective. Now if we look at the daily chart on DXY, we see that there was a typical inverted head and shoulder here on the daily time frame. That inverted head and shoulder has given DXY momentum back to the upside, and last 2 days of the trading week we saw double doji, and with almost stronger liquidity trigger from this lower shadow of the previous daily low, and as the trend is currently in that area is up. If we look at this trend line on the daily, we can see the market is respecting this support quite a while. From this support there was a breakout, pull back to that support, breakout, pull back to that support. The market is maintaining this series of higher high and higher low, which is an uptrending market structure. Now with the new monthly and weekly open, as we are progressing towards the monthly close, I'm going back to the monthly again to see that what the market might do this week. What I think, there might be a deeper pullback in this market from the weekly perspective. If we look at that, there is a weekly bullish candle, and that pullback might create a retracement of this previous weekly bull candle. And if we look at the daily here, we see that after this double doji, can expect a deeper pullback, and that might be a retest of this neckline of this inverted head and shoulder that we can export on the daily time frame, and that could be the potential wave for this week on DXY, which also being aligning with this trend line, and that may lead that market back to the upside to this daily resistance line for the long-term perspective that if you look at. And this is where the market has created this swing high, and the price dropped from that level well below, created this double bottom, as the market is now in an uptrend, and already it has managed to cross a very important swing high here. So if we look at this level from the bigger picture perspective, there was a significant drop, and this is the move which has created the lowest point here. And as the market trended and managed to cross that key level, chances that the price will try to now bounce back to the nearest key level in that direction. So that being said, from the technical as well as some of the fundamental, as there is some boost coming on DXY due to many of the fundamental factors that involving that could bring that market further back to the upside, such as the positive NFP data has also contributed for a bigger move on DXY. So that being said, if we look at the intraday perspective, here's the 4-hour market, and this is where I'm little watchful in that area. If you look at this 4-hour price action here, there is a very stronger breakout here from this channel, bullish channel. The market has moved back to the upside, and I think the price may respect this support, as if we look at this 4-hour time frame, we see there was a consolidation, break below, and again bounce back to the upside. Now from this level here onward, DXY might break this swing low here or even cross that further. This is where the zone, this is there where we can expect a potential bullish entry for DXY. And if we look at this structure here, it's a bullish price action, and from the high, the price again in the last day of trading week, there is a lower time frame rejection. So that means it is less likely that the price will go up from here without breaking that low, and that is also creating a room for pullback that you have seen on the weekly time frame. So this is the potential wave on DXY for this upcoming week, breaking below and then potentially continue to trend back to the upside, and that will mirror on potentially on euro dollar. So let's look at now euro dollar market structure, what kind of price action we can expect on euro dollar. Now monthly chart on euro dollar, like we can see just a mirror of DXY here. The price after the previous monthly close, euro dollar has so far, this is the monthly price action, managed to break below, and as the market currently below this monthly support level, chances that before it managed to drop further, it tried to break this or retest this monthly resistance again, as there was a gap level here. Now going back to the weekly chart here on euro dollar, we can see that from the weekly there is a bearish engulfer, and this is a typical head and shoulder formation, which is just the mirror of the XY. If we invert that, we can see almost the same reflection as the DXY. So that being said, on euro dollar as well, we can expect the downtrending move, and if we look at, there is a significant fair value gap here, and once the market managed to break below, we could see the price to continue to drop, potentially to retest this support or even breaking further below here in this market. Now looking at daily chart on euro dollar, we can see that from the daily perspective, this is the daily price action where there is a daily impulse from this support level, and with this daily impulse, the market has created this double top, and then the price has started to break below here in that market. Now last day of trading week, we saw a bearish engulfer, which is, if we look at the high of this daily candle, we can see that it crossed this previous daily high, grabbed the liquidity, created a bearish engulfer, which is in fact signaling potential further downtrend continuation here in that market, and that might bring the price potentially back to this nearest support level on euro dollar. Now looking at the 4-hour chart, that you can see here is what we can expect, a pullback, and last session we saw a narrower doji formation here on euro dollar, and this is what I'm expecting that the market to retest and then to continue to trend back below to this support level here in that market. So this is a potential wave on euro dollar that I'm looking at for this upcoming week. As soon as you will find suitable, and you will be looking to sell euro dollar for this potential move back below. Now looking at British pound US dollar, we can see that GBPUSD also creating similar pattern as the euro dollar. Now back to back 3 months on British pound US dollar, we can see there is a significant break below. Now this current monthly price action as well showing that British pound US dollar is maintaining the downtrend. This is the monthly high that you can see on this monthly price action. We are almost end of the month, and before the monthly close we could see that on GBPUSD the price to potentially to retest that previous monthly resistance and then to reject back again to the major direction of the trend. Now if we look at the weekly price action here on GBPUSD, we can see that back to back 2 weeks doji, followed by this week there is a rejection back below here in that market, and that is signaling potential further bearish move on GBPUSD, as also there is a bullish fair value gap in this area here. In the past there was a significant break back to the upside, and this zone has not been balanced by sellers, so there is a potential for here now the market to come back and fill that imbalance in that area. Now looking at daily chart on British pound US dollar, we can see that from the daily perspective there is a, after this liquidity gap here, there is a break below. Now the market is on a pullback again to the upside that can give a selling opportunity here again, and this is the monthly resistance that expecting if you look at the price to potentially retest, and what I think that before it managed to break below further we can expect a deeper pullback, and that the market potentially to go back up to retest that daily resistance and then to return again back below to the major direction. So looking at the intraday perspective from the 4-hour chart here on British pound US dollar, there is a structure formation here in that area. From this level, this is the pole here that you can see a strong breakdown followed by a consolidation pattern here in that area, and that is where looking at this market to potentially bounce back here, retest, and then continue to trend back below to the support level to create a new lower low in this market. So that being said, let's look at on AUD USD and dollar CAD, and then we will be looking at gold, also dollar yen and GBP JPY. So make sure guys you stick till the end of this analysis, and in the meantime if you haven't subscribed yet you can do so. Make sure you also like the analysis for more education. Make sure you also press that notification bell so that you are notified as soon as I am releasing any of the new content in this channel. So let's look at now on we will be looking at dollar pair altogether and then gold. So looking at the monthly chart on AUD USD, we can see that from the monthly perspective on AUD USD, this is the monthly price action so far, and we see that also on AUD USD potentially bearish rejection here after this back to back quite a few months stronger bullish move. Now the current monthly price action on AUD USD was highly volatile, and we see the price from this high started to drop back below, and there is a monthly support which has still not been tested by AUD USD. Therefore the potential here for downside in that market. If we look at the weekly perspective here on AUD USD, we can see that from the weekly there is a weekly long wick green candlestick pattern which is a liquidity zone here in that area, and this is where the weekly support has completely broken and a candle closed back below. That expecting on AUD USD potentially to retest and then continue to trend back down here to this support level. Now if we look at the daily chart on AUD USD, we can see that from the daily perspective here, this is the daily price action where there is a daily long wick pin bar with a series of lower high and that is showing that AUD/USD potentially in a downtrend. Last day of trading week, we saw that there was a pullback to the upside here, and what we can see in this market on AUD/USD, that we can expect it to break that high and then continue to trend back below in that market. So from the intraday perspective here, that we can see on AUD/USD, there is a sharp downtrend. The market is maintaining this downtrending market structure and expecting that initially the market potentially to break this high and then continue to trend back below to create a new lower low in this market. So looking at dollar CAD, we can see that dollar CAD with quite a few high impact news, the market is showing a stronger bullish market structure on the lower time frame as well as on the higher time frame. Now looking at monthly chart on dollar CAD, that we can see this market from the monthly maintaining this series of higher low, and as we can see that it's a long term now potentially a bull market. After this break below to this support level, it managed to create a series of higher high and higher low. Now this monthly price action showing that potentially the market to go back up to this long-term resistance line on dollar CAD. Now if you look at the weekly price action here on dollar CAD, we can see that from the weekly quite a few weeks, if we look at this low of this weekly candlestick pattern on dollar CAD, we can see how strong liquidity in that market, and that liquidity gap that you can see on dollar CAD could continue to push the price back to the upside as there is a stronger liquidity gap in that area. If we look at the daily chart on dollar CAD, we can see that from the daily perspective, there is a daily inverted head and shoulder, a stronger breakout from the daily inverted head and shoulder, showing that dollar CAD may potentially remain bullish. Last day of trading week, we saw a long week doji here. And what I think this week, the market may try to break that week daily low, which is also the neckline of this inverted head and shoulder. We can expect it to reverse back again to the upside. From the structure perspective, this is a bullish structure that we can see stronger bull market, expecting dollar CAD continue to trend back here to create a new higher high in this market. Now looking at gold, now XAUUSD, we saw that past week from the weekly perspective it was a doji. Now what we can see, gold was significantly bullish for quite a few weeks in this market. Now as you know that the market will never always keep trending. There is a time when the market will go for a consolidation, a structure formation. So gold potentially now on a pullback. Now if you look at this structure here, that you can see this is a pattern that is bullish as well. From the long-term picture, from the weekly, we can see that there is a stronger breakout followed by pullback, and the market is now maintaining a triangular pattern here, and that is where we could see the price getting interesting, because this pattern eventually to break to the upside as a bullish market is continue to be bullish. That's the rule of thumb. Now if you look at the monthly price action, we are almost ending to the month, and this current monthly candle, if we look at, has comparatively less volatility. If you look at the past here, it's a long-term historically bull market. We can see that with this inverted head and shoulder, stronger breakout, pullback, the market is maintaining this uptrending market structure, creating series of higher high and higher low. Now what we can see that this current monthly price action is showing stronger bullish momentum here. Now if we look at the weekly price, this is the weekly market structure where after this previous weekly long week candle, this week the price has tested this lower shadow, created a long week candlestick pattern here that could bring that market on gold to bounce back to the upside, potentially to create a new higher high. Now looking at daily price action here, that you can see from the daily. This is currently on a sideway. We can see there is a move followed by a very narrow one candle consolidation range. That what I think initially could break below before it bounced back to the upside here on gold. Now looking at the lower time frame, now what you can see, the market is in a consolidation. So closely looking at this consolidation pattern for lower time frame entry as we trade gold on lower time frame, what we can expect here, the market in the beginning of the trading week to potentially drop back below further before it bounce back. And I think the market initially potentially to break that low, to be able to break that high, as it is maintaining a series of higher low from that level and also maintaining series of lower high, which is narrowing down to a single zone where we might see a breakout to the major direction here in that market. So that being said, this is where I'm looking at on gold for potential bullish setup. In the beginning, we could see that upside here, and lower time frame price action can give us further entry opportunity as soon as we can see the market has created. Now from the again going back to the weekly to see that overall trend could be that this week as well, before the monthly close, we might see a potential bullish price action formation here, as it is a long-term bull market. Breaking this low can give us a bullish entry opportunity in this market. So let's look at yen pair. Looking at dollar yen from the monthly perspective here on dollar yen, we can see that this is also a long-term bullish market here on dollar yen, and we can see that there is a monthly so far bullish price action, and historically also dollar yen showing that it's a bull market. Here is the series of higher low that you can see on dollar yen was maintaining. And if we look at the overall volatility in this market, is that it's a completely bullish market structure. And as this market is continuing to the upside here, approaching important resistance line, highly likely that as it's maintaining that typical uptrending market structure, we could see the price to break this previous monthly resistance, which is 158.85, even going higher in that direction. If we look at the weekly price action, as we saw that the past week with this gap open, the market has shown a very strong bullish impulse back to the upside, and that potentially to continue to rise to this resistance line. Therefore, this week as well, expecting the dollar yen to cross this 250 pip or even up in that market. So from the daily perspective here, that you can see dollar yen respecting this 10 EMA for a very extended period of time, and it's in an uptrend. Last day of trading week, there is a break of structure, which is ideal for this kind of trending market, and this breakdown, but I think giving dollar yen further possibility for bouncing back to the upside here in that market. So looking at the intraday or the 4-hour time frame here on dollar yen, we can see that currently it's on a lower time frame pullback, and that is what we could see the market with the opening expecting further lowering, and that can give us a bullish entry opportunity in this market. Maintaining this uptrending market structure can give dollar yen to create a new higher high. Now looking at GBP JPY, like the dollar yen, GBP JPY as well significantly bullish at the moment. Now if we look at the monthly chart on GBP JPY, we can see that from the monthly, also after this previous monthly stronger bullish price action, this month the market has dropped, tested this key important previous resistance turn support. Now as the market tested this key level and got the rejection, that is creating room for further bounce back to the upside in the upcoming months as well. So therefore, from the bigger picture, GBP JPY potentially creating a bullish market structure. Here is the weekly price action here on GJ that you can see. This is the weekly price action where the market tested this 20 EMA break to the upside, drop to the 20 MA, break to the upside, drop to the 20 MA, again breaking back to the upside, potentially creating new higher high and higher low on GBP, JPY, and that might bring the market back to the upside to create a new higher high. Now, looking at daily chart on GJ, we can see that from the daily perspective, there is a daily break below here, grab the liquidity and bounce back to the upside here in that market. Now, if we look at this move and what we see that from the daily, again, there was a last day of trading week, a break below. That break below can give another opportunity to go long here in this market. This is the previous resistance, which is turning support here on GBP, JPY. Now, looking at the 4-hour chart here on GJ, that what we can see that the market maintaining this uptrend, and also there is a breakup structure here in that market. That is what looking at on GJ for the market to potentially to test and then reverse back again to the upside to create a new higher high. This could be the wave and buy zone for GBP, JPY. I hope the traders you enjoyed this education analysis. If you enjoy, make sure you give a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done yet, press the notification bell for more updated analysis as well as education that I am posting every day on this channel. That being said, thank you, and I'll see you soon in my next analysis.